If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please subscribe now. Click the bell icon next to it and select All to ensure you don't miss any of my latest videos. I've finally come out of hiding. Xavier is watching my house from a distance, parked in his car. He thinks he's watching me, but I'm watching him. I've had enough. It's time to see what this killer is really capable of. A few blocks away from my house, I went to a motel. An old man at the reception said there were no rooms available, even though there were. I paid him with my debit card and slipped him a $100 bill. He turned his face away, pretending he didn't see me slip him the money. I put another $100 bill on the table. The old man smiled and said, "Of course, sir. We have a room for you." I traveled another 5 miles to a different location. At that motel, I paid with card and booked a room. I gave the lady at the reception another $100 bill. "If a man in a suit comes asking for a room, tell him we're full," I said and left. Classic misdirection. At another motel, I booked a room and paid with cash for this time. From my room window, I could see Xavier's car. You're probably wondering why I booked rooms at 3 different hotels. Just as you suspected, I needed to know if they were monitoring my bank account. I needed to see how Xavier reacted to losing me. In the first hotel, I left a note that said, "Try again." In the second hotel, I left a note that said, "They sent you after me?" Now, after a long time, I finally got to take a shower. I bought some small cameras from a spy shop and fixed them in a way that I could see the motel's parking lot. After almost 2 hours of waiting, a black car entered the parking lot. I also have a GPS tracker. If I could attach the tracker to Xavier's car, it would be easy to track him. But the problem is I can't go near his car. He'll definitely shoot me if he sees me. I peeked through the window curtains. I noticed some teenagers smoking cigarettes in the motel's parking lot. Wearing a cap and avoiding eye contact with Xavier, I walked towards the motel's parking lot. I took out a $500 bill and called them over. They were bored and smoking cigarettes, so they came over hoping for some money. "What do you want?" they asked. I took out the GPS tracker from my pocket and said, "If you do what I say, I'll give you $500. A man will go into that car over there. You need to attach this tracker to the bottom of his car without being seen. If he sees you, just ride away on your bikes without stopping," I said. They looked at the tracker and whispered to each other, then agreed. I handed them the $500 and turned on the GPS tracker. They took the money, but I looked at them with a questioning look. "If you take my money and run without attaching the tracker, I'll find you and your parents and kill you all. Don't make me come into your lives," I said. Their smiles disappeared and they looked scared. I kept watching them. They slowly turned back, crossed the road, and went towards Xavier's car. From the motel room, I watched the CCTV footage from the cameras I had placed. Xavier had just stepped out of his car and gone inside. As soon as he went inside, the teenagers entered the frame. They attached the tracker to the bottom of his car and left. As soon as they left, Xavier came out, picked up a piece of paper, opened it, and read it. He angrily crumpled the paper and threw it on the ground. He got into his car and drove away, talking to someone on his phone. I felt like a hero, like Nagarjuna. I couldn't stop smiling. I was confident I would win this game. I opened the tracker software on my phone. A small red dot was slowly moving away from the motel. After an hour, I decided to follow Xavier's location. I took my car and drove towards the tracker's location. About half a kilometer away from the location, I parked my car and started walking. The tracker stopped at a restaurant's parking lot. But his car wasn't there. I decided not to go inside the restaurant. I stayed outside and waited. "Gotcha, Xavier," I thought, smiling. Suddenly, a bullet hit the wall right in front of me. Another bullet hit the wall behind me. He had a silencer. I was trapped. I took out my gun and peeked from behind a pillar. He wasn't there. I had no choice but to run. I ran towards the back of the restaurant and came out through the kitchen. Unfortunately, there was no one around. More bullets flew past me from the north side. Luckily, there was a blue dustbin nearby. I hid behind it and took out my gun. I fired 2 rounds. The loud sound alerted everyone nearby. He had a silencer, so he had no problem. I had to escape before the police arrived. I ran towards my car as fast as I could, having lost all patience. As soon as I reached the main road, I saw Xavier running towards me. He hadn't seen me yet. I quickly got into my car and drove away. I saw him in my rearview mirror. Luckily, I managed to escape before he saw my car. I drove through the traffic signals. I needed a new plan for tomorrow. What happens next week? I'll give you an update. Stay safe. It was very difficult, but I could still see him. He was still chasing me. Luckily, I woke up before he could see my car. I drove in the opposite direction and took a different street. He was in a straight line. There were 2 cars between us. Green light, green light, green light. This chase was very thrilling. My death was just a few feet away. It was a tough situation. If he looked through the windows, all my secrets would be revealed. I drove very fast, creating some distance between us. Then the chase began. I was very close to death. I needed to heal. They were thinking about when the next meeting would be. But next time I'll be the one playing the game. I went to a motel and tried to figure out what had happened. I needed a new plan. I realized I had fallen into a stupid trap. He knew I was watching him when the teenagers attached the tracker. He was also a tech expert just like me. Now I had all the information about Xavier. He was trying everything. He had a silencer and wasn't afraid to kill in public. He wasn't as weak as I thought. Luckily, I escaped. My body was slowly healing. After 15 minutes of closing my eyes, I got a phone call. It was Xavier's number. Hello? Hello, why did you leave so quickly? I knew who was calling. What do you want? I asked. Just be careful, Xavier, he said. I know you're calling from a car. Don't interrupt me while I'm talking. It's not about being careful anymore. It's my turn now. There was a moment of silence. I'll kill you with my own hands, he said and hung up. I needed to get to a hotel. I wrote down the number and paid the bill. I kept thinking, how did he get my new phone number? While driving, I threw my phone out of the car window. I needed to change my plans. I went to a bar and sat down. It was crowded. I stayed there for a long time. This game is far from over. Xavier is relentless. He's smart, he's dangerous. I'm going to need every trick in the book to survive. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more updates. Stay safe and I'll see you next week.